Welcome, viewers. We're going to be editing a book live using Scrivener. The book is entitled I Scream for You, The Dispensable Life of Vicente Cajero. My name is Vincent Carleton, and you are watching my stream. For those who are interested in seeing more editing of books and other cool stuff like spell work and meditation techniques and all these goodies, go ahead and click subscribe on the bottom right. There's a little button here that tells you how you can learn more about the lifestyle of a polymath and become one yourself. For tonight, we're going to be talking about what's mine is yours and what's yours is yours. But before we dive in fully, I have to give you a little preface. Once we kick over to Scrivener, it's likely, based on dropped frames I'm already seeing and the internet connection here in Mexico City, that we are probably going to have some issues with sound chop. So in order to avoid that altogether, I am going to turn the microphone off. Once we go into Scrivener, I'm going to do a quick monitoring of the sound. If the ambient music is causing chop, I'm going to kick that out too, and we're just going to be watching me work on the book. And I hope you're okay with that. I find that it's going to be more enjoyable doing that than listening to choppy audio for an hour. As much as I would love to give you a play-by-play, Mexico City's internet simply has not been cooperating where I am, and I'd like it to, but it's just one of the, comes with the territory right now. With where I am, the internet just doesn't hit the bandwidth rate that I need in order for things to flow without any issues. So without further ado, I'm going to dive in here. I'm going to do a quick audio preview for myself. I'm going to listen, and if I hear chop when I dive into Scrivener, all the sound's going to go off. Okay, folks? If you have any questions about the process when I'm writing, please feel free to leave messages in the live chat. That's there for you so that you can learn more about the process. My goal here is to educate you on what it's like to be an author writing a book from start to finish. And this is going to be the editing process of something I haven't looked at in well over a year. I Scream for You is a very personal book, one that I hold very near and dear to my heart. It is a fictional offering which depicts the character Vicente Cajero, who is a fictional character from Boston, who ends up living in Mexico City through various stints throughout the book. And if you have questions about the book, about him, about where these ideas came from, feel free to ask so you can be a part of the book-making process. This is your opportunity to be part of something which I believe is going to be one of the closest books to my heart that I'll ever write in my entire life. It's something that dives into the world of family court systems. It dives into what it feels like to be a man going through a divorce in a foreign country, feeling at many times in this book lost, and what it's like to recover one's sense of worth and what that requires from the therapeutic standpoint and from the self-help standpoint, from the meditative standpoint, from family supports and friendship supports, and at times feeling very lost. This book is something that I intend for my children to have so that they always know, at least from the fictional character of Vicente Cajero, where their father's heart is in terms of how he feels about children and the preservation of their innocence and the protection of their lives, and what a father goes through sometimes when facing systems that are designed to displace him and keep him oppressed. And unfortunately, the family court system has proven to us, I'm saying us as a society, that it is a system designed and run by the dollar, the almighty dollar, that it is most definitely father dime over father time, as Dr. Warren Farrell would say. So without further ado, I'm going to do an audio preview here. Just going to listen in. My voice sounds great. I'm going to jump over into Scrivener now, and we're going to see how things go. If, for whatever reason, the audio starts to chop, I'm going to cut the audio like I said. Feel free to leave questions in the live chat as we go through. You're going to have a chance to see a book that is extremely personal And as much as it's a fictional offering, it comes from places that are part of the wellspring of my heart. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Let's dive in. Here we go. We're going to Scrivener. And I'll be listening quickly before we go in. So if there's any audio chop, I'm going to just kick the audio out entirely. So I'm going to be doing a preview, folks. Okay, audio is going to get kicked because we have stutter. All right. I'm going to check in on this. Just give it a few seconds to make sure there's no crackle in the audio. And if there is no crackle in the audio, I'll finish with some words. Good news, there's no audio crackle. So we had a really great session tonight, and for myself reading this book, it's just it's the story of a poor man who finds self-worth through going through the gauntlet that is life, fighting for one's children. And how it's just such a stark reminder of my own past, traveling through Mexico City, failing with my marriage, wanting only to be a father to my kids, understanding that the mere presence of a woman saying nice things was something that I had taken for granted for so many years. I hate to say that, but it's true. To be surrounded by someone, like even I mentioned the women from Spain that were at the Hostel DF. And this is a true story. I did actually stay there after I was displaced. I was living in Colonia Escandon, and I was told I had 15 days to decided through executive order between herself, her mother, and her best friend that I was to leave. And they said this to me in front of my daughter, who at the time was no more than a year and a half, just slightly over a year and a half old. And I had already been displaced once before. And I remember the moment of seeing my daughter downstairs coming back to Escandon, and oh God, this is hard. And her eyes widening because she thought I was gone. And I could tell she was so happy that this man who cares for her so much was back. And I can tell you there's just nothing more heart-filling and heartbreaking at the same time. My daughter doesn't show those eyes anymore. She's had to deal with almost 7 years of this, and I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. And if my ex-wife could only understand that this doesn't hurt me as much as it hurts my kids. This is the real story of, William Vincent Carleton, the person you hear right now. And I try to translate this as best as I can through Vicente Cajero so that the world can understand that this isn't right, that we need to be better to each other for the sake of our kids. We need to be so loving and kind. We must strive to improve who we are. And that I'm not a man who's in a place of power by any means. And I don't want to be. I know that the future rests on the shoulders of women more than anyone else. They have great responsibility to make sure that the ship steers far from the iceberg. And I see it heading right into it. And how the world only sees what's above the water, and I am very nervous. And then I have to go back to mindset, this part of the book that it's at the end, which is it doesn't matter what kind of fears exist. It doesn't matter what I don't believe is fair. I have to just imagine being with my kids. Whatever that idea of happiness is, I have to imagine it. And I implore others to do the same thing for whatever scenario exists. And I put great effort into this every day. People don't know this, but I put great effort into establishing a connection with my children. I try not to be attached to the idea of love anymore. And this is coming from a Pisces. It's hard work. When I have access to the ocean and all I want to do is share it with someone I love, it's like I have to let go of all this stuff. And I have to not only let go of all these things, but I have to imagine everyone that I think about in my life being happy, including my ex-wife. I have to imagine her being happy. I have to imagine her being in a good place. Not so that I'm seen as better, not so that I'm taking the highest ground. It's because it's the only thing that's going to work. Because everything else has been exhausted. Same thing with people that I've wished would be in my life. People that I tell I love them. I have to wish them to be happy. I have to wish them to find it on their own. I have to wish for them to discover all of these things that they need to discover and heal themselves in their own way without my presence. Because it's the only thing that I can do and feel satisfied with. I can't count on anyone else to do the things that I want. And it's not fair to them either. Until it comes to the interference of the lives of innocent children. That's when you got to make noise. You got to get up and say something about it. You have to do something about it. You can't just be an innocent bystander and look on, because you're not innocent. Children deserve better. My children deserve better than what they have now. And this is an effort that I'm making now to make sure that's heard, understood, and that things change. I mark my words, before I pass on in this world, I will have changed the family legal system. And this book is going to be a part of the way that I change it. I'm going to make sure that people, by the end of my life, can walk into a court system. If their marriage doesn't work out, so be it. Marriage in itself, through romanticism, the odds are definitely not in your favor in terms of it sustaining itself. It's a gauntlet for your entire life, and I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. Not unless you know for sure you found your soulmate. Even with that, you got to really negotiate hard factors and still maintain some part of your single self, or else you're not going to make it. And I'm going to change this whole system so that when people walk into the court system, in most cases, men are just signing off on a form that states how much they're going to give the mother of their children, or else they go to jail. Think about the psychological impact that has on a man or a woman or anyone that's placed in that situation. Think about the psychological impact. To have to pay every single month to someone that hates them. It's torture. It's absolute torture. And for there to not be any systems in place to provide any sort of psychological evaluation, therapy, treatment, support groups. Date cuenta. Date cuenta. Pay attention. There's half of this formula that's not being looked at. And this book right here is going to present it to you. I may not do it the best way. I may not do it in American Psychological Association format. I may not do it as well as a person with a doctorate degree, but I'll tell you what, I'm living it. And I'm coming into it from rock bottom. And I'm the best you're going to get, because I don't hear any other man talking about the things that I'm writing about in this book. Vicente Cajero is very much alone. And his character is tragic, and he still believes. So this gives you some background, and I cry because tomorrow's my birthday. I haven't seen my children on my birthday in 3 fucking years. I have missed being able to share this day with them. And so you know what I do on my birthday now? I don't make a fuss. I don't make a big deal out of it anymore. I'm going to be 42 years old. Kabbalistically, it's a very, very important year. As I go into my Vulcan cycle of 7 years, I want to talk about it. But all of it is just so tainted. 3 fucking years. No call. And it's not my children's fault. It's my fault. My fault for not having written this book earlier and published it so that my kids can have access to me by primordial right It starts today. Thank you for listening and for watching today, and for being supportive of this channel, for being supportive of me. I feel your support. I'm grateful to you. This helps keep me afloat. Beyond that, it helps me to see in the future where I imagine myself being in my fulfilled, happy self, which is serving people, giving energy work, making sure that people heal through my hands, through my words. Nothing makes me happier. It is my divine purpose in life to do these things, and I have been given the opportunity. I'm thankful to my parents. My parents still help me to this day. And now they know finally that they don't have to do it anymore. Those people that have had faith in me, that have told me I can do this, told me what I can accomplish. It's finally led me to the point where I know now I can sustain myself, I can take care of my children, and I can make sure that I can have support systems that are going to help me get access to my children. This has been a very, very hard battle. It's been filled with letdowns. I've let myself down the most because it's been from my mind. My mind has changed. My mind is different. I am different. That person that was tragic in the past was one that could be deeply appreciated in certain ways, and I'm just not the same anymore. I don't express it in the same way. Maybe I'll go back, but it's not going to serve me. It's not going to serve my children. It's not going to serve the people I love. It needed to change. The program in my mind needed to change. And it's been a very, very hard road. It's been a tall, very sharply angled mountain. And there have been times where I thought for sure I was going to fall. But now this book is out there. It's already begun. And the connections that I have in Mexico City, they're indelible now. I am grateful. I am grateful to know that the path that I have chosen is leading to what I had originally imagined. I have to be grateful. And I hope that you find yourself taking the same path that you need to find happiness and healing and fulfillment in the way that you must imagine it, in the way that you are imagining it. And I hope to be a part of your process in some way, selfishly, down the road, if not today. Because we are all one. We are all part of this same divine spark that everything came from. We're all part of it. We're a very distorted image of that original spark. But we have integrity. We have drive, and we certainly love. We have this very powerful gift. Share it. See the world in the light of love. If I can do it for the people that have caused me the most harm, and I can recognize that this has come from my own self, my own mindset, you can do the same. Be good to yourself, so that in turn the people that you surround yourself with, and those who are willing and wanting to be a part of your life, they're embraced in the light of love. I ask, do that. Do that. It's important. We have a generation that is very lost. We must help them. Help them by setting the example and not reinforcing the same behavior. Please. Have a wonderful evening. And just remember, if you enjoyed what you had seen this evening and watched, you enjoyed this book, you want to see more happen, please subscribe. You'll have access to everything that I'm editing. And there will be several books, maybe more than several books released this year that will be edited here, live on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you for being a part of this intimate process. I am very, very grateful to you and wishing you a very peaceful evening. Sleep well if it's nighttime. If it's daytime, make the best of it. Live it better than you've ever lived a day. Have a wonderful evening.